First of all, I think this has gone far beyond science now, and it's now, to no small extent, it's religion to many people, as opposed to being science. Well, I mean, what I tell people is I show them a picture of the price of oil, a graph of what it's done since 1980. And I tell them that I taught forecasting to MBAs, executive MBAs at LSU for 30 years. And I would show them this picture, and I would say, this is the second most difficult thing in the economy to forecast in the future. And you can see why. It's highly variable. It bounces all over the place. And it moves for reasons that are very unpredictable. I mean, who could have predicted in 2014, for example, the latter part of 2014, that the Saudis would suddenly pump a whole lot of oil on the market? Who would have guessed that? And then drive the price down to under 30 at one point. Who could have predicted that? Then I'll show them a picture of the price of the food consumption in the United States, which is a nice, neat straight line going straight up. And I said, scientifically speaking, it's clear that it's easier to forecast food consumption than it is oil prices. I mean, it doesn't take a mental giant to figure that out. It's statistics. The more stable something is, the easier it is to forecast. And so oil prices are, I can tell them, the second most difficult thing to forecast because it's very highly variable and unpredictable what it's going to do. And I say, if I told you I could forecast the price of oil 20 years in the future, plus or minus $2 a barrel, and we should change all of our living standards, all of our tax structure and everything based on my ability to forecast oil prices, you would say, you are nuts. We can see that it's very difficult for us. We can't do that. We're not going to do that. And oil prices are the second most difficult thing to forecast. The most difficult thing to forecast is the climate. It's changing all the time, and it's changing for reasons that are very unpredictable, in my humble opinion. And so the idea that we should change our entire lifestyle and our tax structure and everything on the notion that somebody can forecast the climate, weather, I don't care what you call it, 20 years in the future, plus or minus 2 degrees, to me is absurd. That is just scientifically absurd. And one of the indicators that's absurd, I say, let's do a little investigation. Go back and look at what the headline said on the first Earth Day about 33 years ago. And the headlines on first Earth Day 33 years ago were, man-made global cooling is going to destroy the Earth. We don't do something about it. That's what they said. And then, of course, we had the hockey stick in the 90s, and it switched to man-made global warming is going to destroy the Earth. We don't do something about it. Well, then suddenly the warming thing kind of went flat. It didn't warm anymore. So they had to come up with another angle. And so that was man-made, and this is the silliest scientific phrase I've ever heard, man-made climate change. Well, how in the heck do you measure climate change? Of course the climate's going to change. Are you mad? Of course it's going to change. And so I just think it's silly. And the primary reason it is silly, and the primary reason there's so much activity behind it, is because, Jason, this is a huge industry. This is like a $2 billion industry funded by governments around the world. And they are not going to do anything to stop that money coming in. They're going to keep making the case that this is a problem that's going to destroy us all. That's the only way they're going to get government to continue to give them $2 billion a year. So when I see a situation like this, which makes no sense, my response is follow the money. Why are people promoting this? And I think it's because there's so much money to be made in this sector.